By the end of today's lesson, you should be able to solve a system of equations using the elimination method. If you notice, today I've set up my notes where the vertical line for my C notes is more in the center of my paper. That's because elimination is kind of a shortcut or a trick you can use to solve the system of equations. So it involves a lot of explaining each step over here. So I'm going to give myself extra room. So the first system we are going to solve is 4x plus 3y equals 6, and negative x minus 3y equals 3. I know this is a system of equations because it is grouped together with this bracket. Now, this particular system of equations lends itself to being solved with elimination because if you notice on my y variables in both of the equations, it has a 3. In this one, it's a positive 3, and in the second, it's a negative 3. This is the best case that you can get because I have opposite coefficients on the same variable. When you have an equation that looks like this, and it could be either with the y or on the x, where you have opposite coefficients on the variable, you can use elimination. So I'm going to treat this as an addition problem. And I'm going to add the two equations straight down. So 4x plus negative x gives me 3x. And 3y plus negative 3y. Remember, adding a negative is just like subtracting. So that's going to give me 0y equals, and 6 plus 3 is 9. I wrote the 0y just so that you can see that they add up to be 0, but we don't actually need to include this because it's 0y. So really our equation is just 3x equals 9. Now to solve this, we're going to divide both sides by 3 to get x by itself, and we find out that x equals 3. Now we only have the first variable solved. We still need to go up and find y. So I can plug it into either of the equations and solve for y. Plug it into this first equation. So 4x plus 3y equals 6, and I'm going to substitute this 3 in for x so that I can find out what the y value is. As a reminder, you should be doing this problem along with me and trying to do or be one step ahead of me, checking your answer as you go. Now don't forget to give your answer as an ordered pair. So there's not a lot of space down at the bottom here. I'm going to go ahead and try to get it in there. And I'll probably use 2 columns here to try to solve the next example. 2x plus y equals 12, and 3x minus y equals 18. This is a system of equations, and I'm going to add them straight down. So I'll get 5x plus 0y equals 30. Now I'll divide both sides by 5. I'll get x equals 6. Now I need to take this 6 and I need to put it back up into one of the equations. And I'm going to choose this first equation to plug this 6 back into, and I'm just going to write it over here. So I'm going to multiply 2 times x, but remember I'm filling in 6 for x, plus y equals 12. So 12 plus y equals 12. Subtract 12 from both sides of my equation. I'll get y equals 0. So in this case, the ordered pair is 6, 0. So let's talk about what needs to be over on this side. Normally I have you do this on your own. The key here is that you need to make sure that you line up your x's, y's, and constants. Oftentimes, equations are given with the x, then the y, and then the constant term, but sometimes it's not and you need to rearrange it. Then you're going to add or subtract them to eliminate the variable. Once you find what the variable is, you will solve for the remaining variable. Once we have that variable, you're going to plug the answer back into either equation and solve. I'm going to put eliminated variable because remember we eliminated it up here, but it's still in the original equation. Then, once you have that solved, don't forget to write the solution as an ordered pair. Go ahead and pause this video and try a few of the problems on Delta Math using this. Once you're done, come back and we'll add some other key things that you may have forgotten and ran into some issues. Hello again. So if you were running into some issues on Delta Math, some things that I might want to point out and that you should add with a red or a separate color, I'm going to use pink today, is up here when it says add or subtract them to eliminate a variable. We're going to add the equations when the coefficients are opposite, and we're going to subtract when the coefficients are the same. So right here, add when coefficients are opposites, subtract when coefficients are the same. When you're solving for the variable, remember that it could be x or y. It's whichever one you didn't eliminate. So it can be x or y. Then here, you can plug it back into any of the equations, but my suggestion would be to choose the easier equation to plug your answer back into. Don't always choose the top equation. Sometimes the first equation is not the easier one. And lastly, you write your answer in an ordered pair, but if it's a word problem, you might actually have to find out what these different values stand for and give it as words. If word problem, then answer with words. Something else fun about elimination is you can make almost any equation an elimination equation by using multiplication. So let's take the equation y equals 2x minus 1 and y equals x plus 2. Now this is in slope-intercept form, and if I had a coordinate plane, I would just graph these two because they're fairly easy to graph on a coordinate plane. But if I don't have a coordinate plane already set up or made for me, I'm probably going to use elimination. And I can do that because I have 2x here and just x here. So I'm going to multiply both sides of my equation by 2 or negative 2. I like to use addition, so I'm going to do negative 2. But if you use just 2, then you'll have to use subtraction for the elimination. So here, I'm just going to rewrite these equations so that you can see and if you look here, I made opposite coefficients. So now I can just add these two equations. So y plus negative 2y. So negative y equals 0x, and negative 1 minus 4, negative 5. So divide both by negative 1, y equals 5. So I'm going to plug this y back up into my first equation. 5 equals x plus 2. Subtract 2 from both sides. And I'll get that x equals 3. So the solution will be. It's a pretty nifty trick. Thank you.